Hey y'all, Peter Bros Golf Show. Back after a 2 week hiatus. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Thanks y'all for joining us and hanging out with us. I had the pleasurable experience of going to the Bahamas this past week. So the signal in, or excuse me, the Wi-Fi in our Airbnb was not great. We would not have been able to actually do the show. It just was not possible with the speeds that we were given. But I'll just right off the top talk about my experience there. As you can see, the hat, the Hero World Challenge, got to grace the grounds on Thursday. That was an interesting experience. So outside of
Nice.
any other, you know, typical PGA Tours stop that I visited, of course, attendance is very sparse at this event.
Yeah.
Um, the part of the island that it's on is getting developed, but generally kind of isolated. I would say honestly, you can get anywhere in the Bahamas within an hour, at least on the island of Nassau where we were. But an interesting also experience getting to the tournament. So they had two options. You could either take a shuttle from a hotel called the Bahamar, but they were running them every 30 minutes, so super sparse. And I didn't want to take a chance on that. And I didn't know what time they were going to stop shuttle service. They had when they were stopping coming over from the hotel, but not necessarily when they were going to stop shuttling back to the hotel. So I drove the rental car that we had, pull up to the gate in this kind of private community, and the lady's like, do you have an ID? I'm like, I have my digital ticket that was through Ticketmaster. She took a glance at it, tossed me a paper ticket, tore off the stub, said, keep this on you at all times. I pulled to the parking lot and you just walk onto the course. There was no one checking anything, no credentials. It was so weird. Unlike going through a typical PGA Tour event where you're going through security, you just walk right on to like I was like hole number five. So a very interesting experience out at the Hero World Challenge. I was not when I scheduled the trip. It wasn't around that event, but definitely something that I took advantage of. A lot of stuff happens in the Bahamas in December, basketball tournaments, etc. So it was cool to see it in person. The course is cool. Um, it's a lot more undulation than you would expect, and that really the TV shows. It's a little more, it looks kind of flat on TV, but it's definitely more to it. Dunes, the conditions were actually I mean, they tried to keep it firm and fast, so you could tell they were already kind of baking out the fairways, and you could even tell on the TV coverage yesterday that those greens were starting to look really crispy. Um, they were right on the edge when the tournament started on Thursday. So again, just super interesting experiencing that in person. And also as opposed to the course that I actually played, which is called the Royal Blue, the golf club at Bahamar, which is again that same hotel. One, the most expensive round that I've ever paid for. It was like $400, just short of that. Crazy. I was
Mm.
like, this isn't even like one of those historical courses. I posted the front nine of that course earlier today, so go check that out after we're done here. But I feel like that course I actually was in a little bit better shape than Albany.
Mm.
Um, that could be subjective, but I mean, for what I paid, I could actually justify it given the conditions. Everything was really tight. Every green was immaculate. So, there's not a lot of ton of courses on Nassau. I think total of four or five. But yeah, anyway, if you get a chance to go to the Bahamas, it's a fun trip, especially in the off season. It's interesting, right? So get your passports, go check the Bahamas out. Fun golf, super expensive though. Even the other place I looked at, which was on Paradise Island, which is associated, I believe, with the Atlantis Hotel, which is a big family resort. That one was close. I think it was over $200 too. So no cheap golf on the island of Nassau. So anyway, a couple of shots from my experience out there. Pull these up so you don't think I'm lying. This was Scotty. I think it was on the fifth green. Excuse me, sixth green. Missing a putt, and him from a fairway. Ball striking was amazing. So, just I don't know how much of the tournament you got to watch or the replay because they were definitely giving a lot of coverage this weekend. Scottie Scheffler trying a different putter grip using the saw for the shorter putts. Traditional stroke for his longer putts. Did you? How much did you this rounds did you get to watch from the Hero World Challenge?
Yeah, I watched a lot of it. I pretty much got a glimpse of every round. I was telling Rod I was looking for him on that first day that he showed. Guess I wasn't lurking hard enough. I was looking in the background, but they were showing. I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
kept it pretty tight. They kept it
Yeah,
pretty tight on the players.
they were pretty zoomed in on the players for sure. They didn't really have any backgrounds, but yeah, I saw that, noticed it. You know, I respect Scotty for doing it because it just shows that he wants to have the best result possible and he's going to do it by any means necessary. And it seems like it took a little bit easier, or I mean, he was ready to relinquish the traditional putting grip a little bit, sooner than he was the blade putter. So good on him for that. And whatever works. Me personally,
Yeah.
I feel like I am so disconnected. I don't think I could ever. But I would
I
more
don't like the
prefer.
feel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't
like
like
the
the
feel of
feeling.
it.
I would more prefer going to a traditional golf grip instead of a putting grip, as you would per
Like a
se.
locked, like locking his fingers, maybe.
Yeah, I felt like I was making the best contact ever when I was putting like that. But taking it to the
Yeah,
course and translating it there, it's the same thing. Like you definitely got to put in your work beforehand. You definitely got to make sure that you're comfortable reading greens and starting line on that with that putting. Because again, this is very unfamiliar from what you've done your whole however long you've been playing. So
yeah. I think
um,
traditionally when we've seen people go to that saw grip, it's because they have too much right hand kind of hit, and
yeah,
they're maybe pulling and tugging some putts, and maybe it's a way for him to feel like he can get some control. I don't know. He was draining some actually pretty decently long putts today to close it out, and the ball striking was there. So he was
yeah,
giving himself opportunities, but he definitely looked squeamish on Thursday when I saw
right,
him. He kept going back and forth. Ended up following him for about 10 holes, 10 12 holes. I dropped off at one point to watch JT and Keegan Bradley play a couple of holes because they went out last on the first day. JT looks really good. I know we've talked about his struggles over the last couple of years, but um, Keegan Bradley's fidgetiness was driving me crazy in person. So I had to get up out of that group. It was a lot, especially when he's stalking the greens. It's a lot watching Keegan Bradley. But yeah, I think going back to Scotty, um, I get it. You want to try to see what you can improve and just figure out. And he mentioned that in the interview post around that he was just, he's searching for the best possible game that's available to him. I still think he'll eventually probably stick with the traditional style of putting that he always has. I mean, we saw him kick ass last year, or excuse me, this year. Last
yeah,
technically the season ended with the FedEx Cup, but we saw him do quite well with that traditional putting stroke. I don't know if it requires him to change much to remain the number one golfer in the world, which I still think he very much is.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
easily.
I mean, I know this week is a limited field at the Hero World Challenge, but he's able to step up against the best of the best and still do his thing. And yeah, so
Yeah, I think whatever he did Saturday lit a fire because he did not have his best in the end. He kind of, went into the bushes or went into the little, he had a little errant shot over to the right and whatnot. But yeah, he really kicked it back into gear today and showed us why he is the number one golfer. I mean, he shot 9 under, far and away the best round on the day. Just left Tom Kim and JT in the dust. I mean, that was really all it was to it. He was in the second to last group. JT and Tom Kim were no. I'm sorry. JT and Scotty were in the last group, and he just left
yeah.
JT behind. But yeah, I didn't. I'm not gonna dwell on it long, but I was really excited to see what Justin Thomas was doing. Um, just from a fan standpoint, you never want to be too critical because, again, just like you said, this is the Bahamas. This is vacation time.
Yeah.
So you can't really put too much stock into a 20-player event, but bro showed some signs that he really been working and it's finally paying off. So I'm excited to see what he does. And I know a lot of people aren't gonna want to hear this, but he is an emotional leader out there for the US team. So
Yeah.
I know he wants to do what he has to do to get that captain's pick on this team because he is not gonna make it as far as the automatic qual. He's not his
Well, it's a
last
lot of,
year. It's a
I
lot
know,
of
but it's a
golf.
lot of season left. That's a lot of
It's a
season
lot
left.
of season, but it's gonna take some really stellar golf throughout the season. And JT already doesn't have it every week.
Well,
So I think he's gonna
they
do enough.
go ahead.
I think he's gonna do enough to get, not in that one that he's gonna do enough and have a good enough season, possibly to get into that 10 to 15 range right outside the automatic qualifiers. So he's
Hmm.
gonna put the onus on Keegan. That's really what I'm thinking. Like he's not gonna be like I'm not saying he's gonna be like number 22 or something like that in the red in the in the Ryder Cup standings,
Yeah,
Ryder
I
Cup
think he's
points.
looked good enough. I think he's looked good enough this week. Of course, this is me speaking about watching him in person. The swing looked very comfortable. He was able to place the ball where he wanted to. Um, again, go check out my video about the wind in the Bahamas. That shit was no joke. Thursday was actually pretty chill and warm, but
The
there were a
only
few
day.
holes. Yeah, Friday through Sunday, um, that wind is definitely plays a part in your game. And I'm like I said, the round I played, it was sustained 25-mile-per-hour winds, especially when you're in the open. It was
Hmm.
interesting. The course I played, the front nine was completely exposed. The back nine was a little more tucked, so it wasn't as impactful, but still, nonetheless, wind came into play. So with the windy conditions, honestly, really impressed with the way that Justin Thomas struck the ball, was able to get the driver going. That's one thing that I don't think he's had really a lot of control under, and he was hitting it both ways. We know he's relied on that power cut, but he was moving it right to left, left to right, on command. So definitely, I think he's got a lot of game. And even they talked about it on the broadcast today with Tiger. He's a new dad, right? So that's always your thing,
Hmm.
talking about that dad life. But I think it brings a certain level of focus as well to these golfers, especially him struggling the last couple of years. He didn't, it's interesting also, again, with the sparse crowds that were out there, seeing him not really have many people following him. His dad and mom were out there, and then probably about five consistent fans that stayed with that group.
Yeah.
As opposed to the 30, 30 to 40 that follow, and it's kind of changed. Picked up some as the turn happened, dropped off some, with the Scottie Scheffler and Sahith Theegala group. That one was probably the most active, of course. Um, Thigala has his entourage out there. So saw his dad. Dude is a hustler. He's just walking all over the place. I think his mom and like it looked like an aunt, as well as Sahith's girlfriend, were out there. So they had a pretty decent contingent following them throughout. Um, Heath actually played pretty decent that first day as well. So, like I said, I'm optimistic about JT turning it up and possibly sneaking in there with an earned spot and not having to rely on the captain's pick.
Okay.
But I think given what we've talked about and kind of the new crop of players coming up, he's going to have to really perform, right? We
He's gonna
can't
have
see
to
that's
hoop.
kind of yeah, we can't see that spotty type of season that we saw last year. 2 years ago was really brutal. Last year was just kind of up and down. So we'll
Yeah.
see. I'm optimistic for the kid though. Um, and also one other random thing about the course that the TV doesn't necessarily show is there that off the fairway there's a lot of rocks and I'm not talking about like stones but literally like this black, it almost looks like volcanic rock.
Yeah.
So the course is an interesting course. um it's definitely unique and something that TV can't quite justify, which I think you see a lot of when you actually get to walk a course versus what you see on the broadcast. Some of
Hmm.
the fairways look are tighter than you would expect. Um, Turns in the fairway where it's actually really hard dog legs that again you can't really picture on the TV screen. So definitely an
Yeah.
interesting layout. What'd you think about Tiger? Um, to me, just random. Dude seemed more lucid and aware. And I don't know, just speculating. He's been through a lot of injuries, maintaining pain. It's felt like he's been a little bit loopy the last couple of years, but he seemed very, again, with it, lucid in the kind of pre-tournament talks and also on the broadcast today. What do you think about Tiger and kind of any statements that stood out to you about himself physically and kind of where his game is at?
Um, at this point, well, first of all, let me say I didn't listen to the pressers. I wish I would
Yeah.
have watched the final round to see what they're gonna play it. I'll watch it tonight. I'll watch the replay and watch what he said when he was in the booth talking to Costas and Smiley and stuff like that. But yeah, I think at this point in his career, he's trying to really protect his legacy. So for him to pull out and not say he's going to play this year, warranted. I think that, when it comes to Tiger, he's going to do what he said a couple of years ago after, the last big incident. I'm only going to be in events that I feel like I can win, and I'm only going to play when I feel like I can win. So,
Hmm.
respect to him for knowing his boundaries and knowing when and when not to get into tournaments. So if he feels like
Yeah.
he's not quite ready, he's not quite ready. So
And
we'll see him.
that's one of the yeah, that was one of the pregame or pre-tournament presser statements that stood out is that he said I still have the competitive drive
Yeah,
internally, still wants to prep like he's getting ready for something, but the body just doesn't recover in the same way, right? We know it's
yeah,
taken a lot of rehab to get his body from from during the round, post round, and getting him ready to go the next day. He's pretty much being worked on around the clock after he's off the golf course. So we know that. One other thing, he was non-committal about playing in the PNC with Charlie this year. Dan Hicks tried to press him on it a couple times, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, buddy, slow down. I'm not giving you
believable.
an answer." So that's a couple weeks away. So we'll know. I mean, he's always been a late commit to that tournament. He can use the cart to get around it, so
Yeah,
we'll
he'll
see,
use the
right?
card. Yeah, but
But he didn't want to commit.
yeah. So we'll see him for the Genesis. That's February. We got plenty of time before then. We might even see him for the Farmers. That's end of January. That is a smooth 2 months for him to prepare physically and mentally. And I think now that he's pretty much tied up all the surgeries he needs, unless he does something stupid again, I mean, hopefully Tiger just kind of lays off the gas a little bit, just drives regular like a human would, not like some superstar, you know, and does what he needs to do to stay ready for golf. And we can see him optimistically, we could probably see him, 9, 10 times out the year. Four majors, he's still exempt, or he'll get a special exempt into the US Open or
Yeah.
whatever. So three majors at least, probably the US. Then he'll have the signature event in the Genesis that he hosts. He'll get into a few of pre major events that he always plays, courses that he plays. But
He said
I'm
that
not,
last year too. I'm not
yeah,
optimistic
but then he
about that.
ended up having the back surgery or whatever it was. And he
Yeah,
had like the ankle surgery or whatever. He's got his
that
own
was a couple
shoe.
years ago.
It seems like it's an orthopedic shoe now. So now, he ain't gonna have no problem walking or hoofing it, whatever. And then, he's got a new regular caddy. So whenever he is on the bag or whenever Tiger's playing, he'll have his regular guy. We're not gonna sit here and question that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, that's just me being on the
Oh, I mean,
optimistic side of things.
you
But
be optimistic, but he said the same shit to us last year about him teeing it up at least once a month. And what? How many times did we see him? We saw him complete the Masters. He withdrew from the Genesis.
he
Um,
officially 5 events is what they said.
okay.
But
Uh,
I I just
yeah.
said I just said about 10.
Okay.
So
I don't think
I'm
that's
not even
happening.
giving them I don't even think I'm not even giving them an event a month. But I mean, really, if he does 8, that's enough to me.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I trust me. I'm number one Tiger fan. I was disappointed, that he wasn't out there playing this week. Of course, it would have been cool. I would say it's probably the closest I've ever been or ever will be to being in Tiger's vicinity, even though he
Yeah,
did not show face during the tournament week until today. So like I would have loved to see him tee it up, and
he was out
who
there
the hell
Saturday
knows?
or something.
Maybe.
He was lurking. No, no, no. They showed him on TV. He was in the
Okay,
car. He was in the background. He was
he
trying
was
to stay
rolling
out the way.
around.
Yeah,
It definitely was. It definitely wasn't on the grounds Thursday when I was there, but I could
yeah.
feel his presence.
It is.
Isn't it? Yeah, it was interesting. I don't know. Like I said, I'm hopeful, but not optimistic as you are. That we will see him as much, but either way, I'm excited to see what kind of momentum that Scotty can carry over from this year into next year. And if we can see him continue to dominate fields in the way that we saw him, I think we've said this enough last year. Love to see him win a major outside of the Masters.
Yeah,
That's to me crucial that he's able to do that and kind of
to
show that
really
his game will
solidify.
travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yep. So yeah, any other thoughts about the Hero World Challenge before? Oh well, I'll talk about a couple more things. Um, Tony Finau was a
Late scratch.
late withdrawal. He pointed to a surgery that he had on his knee and meniscus as to why he did not play. Of course, that stirred up, you know, rumors about his involvement with Liv
Yeah,
and his wife. Of course, he just disputed that, and his wife posted a TikTok about not wanting to be involved in drama. So I'll take him at his word, but he's been in these rumor mill
oh yeah,
conversations the last
these
couple
last two
years.
years.
Yeah, and we haven't seen any signings since last year, which is a perfect kind of quick segue mention that yesterday was the 1 year anniversary of us finding out that John Rahm was going to be departing for Live, and we'll kind of dig into that a little bit deeper later. But yeah, so they haven't really had any significant signings since his, and then right behind that, Tyrrell Haddon's. So we've gone a year with it being dry. Um, One other quick note: we talked about Wyndham Clark being the ultimate club tinkerer earlier in the year.
Yep.
And looks like he had been playing with some different stuff. He's a Titleist staffer. Um, had the T100s in the bag, and apparently now has a custom iron from Titleist that's unique to him. Looks like a little bit of muscle back, cavity back with some, muscle back characteristics. It's definitely like, it looks like a hybrid club, honestly. Um, the guy just doesn't stop, right? So he's seeking
Yeah.
out short irons that go lower and long irons that launch higher. Um, so, what did you think about him continuing to tinker and try to figure out his game?
They have iron sets for that window. They really do. So, I mean, if you just want to play the T150, it's 2 degrees stronger, so it's going to launch out of a lower window. Of course, if you play like the C taper or something like that, it's definitely going to have lower spin, lower launch. You can stick with one club and do that. And then if you want your longer irons to launch a little bit higher, just play like the T200s. It's a little bit more of a hollow body club. It's a helper club. The distance is already going to be there for you. So you just need something that's going to launch out of the window you need. Just saying, Wyndham, but
Just
it's
saying.
always an adventure with
Um,
him. And I think
it
I
really
mean,
is.
it's fun though. It gives us something to talk about. And as many tinkerers as we are, it's just something to marvel at that this guy is still on tour and is doing all this little things. It's like you I don't know. Sometimes I'm at
I
a
know.
loss for words, because remember when we were talking about it, and Buddy was like, "Yeah, like I changed the way the club sits, so these are like 3 degrees flat. Next week, 1 degree upright." Like, bro, like, please, I just,
That's a lot of tinker.
oh
I
my
mean, a lot.
God, bro, please, just a coach will help you out. You don't have to go to Butch, bro. You can go to one of these other top tier guys, and they'll help you out. Please, just
Clearly, he's still trying to figure it out. So, well, I'm not saying golf is golf, right? But this course is gettable. There were 5 par 5s on this layout.
and a couple
And the
of
fact that
drivable
he
par
went
fours.
correct, he went even for the week with rounds of 73,
Mhm.
70, 71, and 74 on a par 72. Excuse me, on a par 72. So, not a great showing. Jason Day and Russell Henley also finished over par +1, each of them for the week. But clearly, the club selection still trying to find it for Mr. Wyndham Clark. Matthew
Yeah,
Pavon also kind of struggled to you know he was even as well. I didn't even
yeah,
see Nick Dunlap. It was some interesting
yeah. After the first day,
some
we didn't
guys
see
that
him.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody had some squirrely rounds in there. Uh, Man, Cam
Yeah.
Young came tumbling down. That
Oh yeah,
second round
after
75.
64 to lead 8 under.
Yeah,
I was like, oh yeah, and then like you said 75, 72, 72.
but and
He
it's not
is
to
so
say that.
inconsistent.
Yeah, it's not to say that golf is humbling because golf will humble you on its own. But when he came out after the interview and Carl Banks or asked him,
Car
uh, Kara, we'll just go with Kara because I know already fumbled the last name. That's why Rod is repeating me, guys. Just if y'all were ever wondering.
Marks doesn't do
Um,
names.
Stop. I got one right, jerk. Anyways, interviewed him and he was like, and she was like, well, that looked like a carefree round. That looked pretty easy. And he was like, well, it actually was. Well, that next round wasn't,
Bro.
brother. That next round wasn't. So what's up? And then you just
Well,
shoot even part of the rest of the days.
I
Mm.
think it was probably honestly again going back to the wind in the Bahamas, fucking nuts. The craziest
Yeah,
wind I've ever played in.
but he
So
plays
I
a
think
low draw. Bro,
yeah,
him.
but off the tee, he hits a very high ball. Off the
Mm-mm.
tee with the driver. You think
No,
he's a low trajectory?
yeah, he done made videos for Titleist and stuff. He teases it. He has a low fairway finder. He plays this low, like little JT squeeze draw. It's pretty. He hit it on. He hit it
Mm,
on Thursday on 18, and that thing will just
okay.
run.
Well, I
I
don't know
think it.
why every time I've seen. What then? Why did I don't know? Because I feel like
I think
he's
it's his putting still. He does this weird left hand low with this thick grip. It's like a. To me, it looks like a belly putter grip. It's heavy handed, and then he plays a mallet. I just think he just needs to go to the lab about his putting. Truly, truly,
okay.
he just needs to go to Brad Faxon,
You're
David
right.
Orr.
Actually, a good call out. Had to pull the stats. Strokes gained putting for the week 20 out of 20.
Yeah. So
And scrambling horrible. Sand save 17th out of 20. Scrambling 17th out of 20. Got up and down 50% of the time. Um, green and regs kind of middle of the pack 12. So yeah, the putting
I'm a,
exactly like you said.
I'm a Cam Young fan. I love the pause. I love his swing. I've he gets a little hot under the collar, which not saying I can relate to because I just when I go
You
off,
could
I go off. I I'm worse than Cam, so he's actually calm compared to me when you see me on the course and I'm going through it. But game wise, he's gonna play a draw and he's gonna pause at the top. So I love that. And so yeah, so I try to I'm not saying that I'm digging up his stats and stuff like that, but I try to keep up
you're
with
from
what
you're from
with what Cam is
you're
doing.
familiar with this game. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's get off the Hero World Challenge.
Wait,
Let's
a
move
couple things.
over. Go ahead.
So first of all, I was muted because I was doing something with my AirPod. I was asking you as you were speaking, but I was muted.
Okay.
Um, about the gate attendant and stuff like that. So I'm guessing just
Okay.
because it ain't gonna be that many people, they wasn't really checking for shit. Like if this, because I was like, you've been to the Colonial, you've been to the Byron Nelson. Those were the things I was saying. I was like, you got to actually show like credentials and stuff, right, to get in the gate over there.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you have to show your they scan your Ticketmaster deal, right?
Yeah.
This
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
was super informal. She just trusted. I said I have it on my phone. I double clicked because I had it saved to my Apple Wallet.
Yeah.
Showed it. It could have been a screenshot, and she's like, here you go. This is unique, and like, hey, our audience is our audience. So like, the Bahamas is a very black country, right? So every facility, we're everywhere over in the Bahamas, and
Yeah.
it was an interesting dynamic just because, um, like clearly I'm from the U.S. and they have kind of that island accent. It was just an interesting feel for the country. I don't know. Like I said, very trusting. I guess the fact that I got all the way back there, because again, this was off the a beaten path, right? So if you were
Mm-hmm.
back there, um, it was close to this area called Adelaide, which we had attempted to go to the Adelaide beach earlier in the week, but it was like no access points to actually get to it.
Mm.
Um, it was interesting, but yeah, like I said, if you were back there, and I just said, she's like, "Hey, what can I do for you?" I'm like, "I'm here for the golf," and she's like, "Cool." Again, ask for ID. I was like, "I don't have an I Doesn't matter, right? The ID didn't matter." I was like, "I have my ticket for the golf." She's like, "Cool." Again, toss me the
You
paper
could have went
ticket.
again Friday, fool.
I literally could have. I could have. And had we not been leaving, I was like, this is super informal. And again, that was it. When I parked my car in the spectator lot, literally the entrance was right there and nobody was at the entrance. And you walk onto the course from there. Super unique. You're not dealing with that in the US. I could have had
Mm-mm.
I mean, guns are not really a thing in the Bahamas. Even the police didn't carry guns.
Right.
Um is so interesting. Like I said, different dynamics. What was the one thing that I was gonna say? Shit.
The
Oh,
roads.
driving on the left hand side.
Yeah.
Freaky, bro. So it's a weird mix because even in countries where primarily have when they drive on the left hand side, the steering wheel is on the right, which makes sense because when you're going around curves, you want to be able to see what's coming.
Yeah.
Half the cars are on the right hand side in terms of the where the wheel placement is. Half of them, including the one I was in, was on the left hand side. So going around curves, I'm like trying to lean and see around the curve and see what's coming. And I think because of that, there's a lot of areas on main roads that have glass, so you can see kind of blind spots coming where there's a reflector or something. So that part
Yeah.
was trippy to keep forcing myself to drive on the left hand side. When I got back, it was totally fine, and I readjusted like nothing, but definitely an active brain the entire time while driving around the island.
Mm.
So anyway,
Yeah.
good
And
mention.
then the other thing, just real quick, you played the Royal Blue, right? That's what you
Correct.
said.
Yep, Royal
So
Blue. At,
did you check to see about getting on the Point Royal course and what it would
so
have
I
cost if you
did.
play that?
It does not have the cost listed. There is. I went back later. Initially, when I got there, I was like, "Oh, there's probably a reason I can't play this week." There's an inquiry sheet. They don't have like an open availability, but there was an inquiry sheet on their website that I could have probably said, "Hey, I'm here in the country. I would like to try to play, or something." Right. So no cost listed anywhere. Um, they kind of feature like, oh, we give lessons. Here's our school of golf and all this stuff, but
Mm,
there's no like open tee sheet that you can access for the Albany golf course at all. That's not a
got
thing.
you.
So
Mm,
very much private. And I'm assuming that I mean I know there's a lot of somebody I overheard in the crowd saying that Tiger actually goes there quite a bit to play on his own time, which is not crazy. I think he parks his boat on the harbor and does that quite often. It's a hop, skip, and a jump over from Florida, so not surprising. And I'm sure there's a ton of pros that play over there. The
yeah,
course was
Justin
designed
Rose used
by
to come play out of there like all
yeah,
the time.
course designed by Ernie Els. So Um, yeah, cool little oasis. I'm sure vacation spot. Um, not that Florida is incredibly cold ever, but yeah, just to change up the scenery and go hang out in the Bahamas for a few days and get a professional golf course to access.
Yeah.
Again, on an island that doesn't have that much golf. So yeah.
Anyways, I'm finished with my
Anyhow,
questionnaire. My apologies.
cool. No apology needed. Um, Over in South Africa, guy that we talked about just 3 weeks ago, Johannes Veerman ends up winning the Nedbank Championship, in Sun City, by one stroke. Guy, I can't pronounce his name, ended up giving it away on the 18th hole and actually bogeyed a couple of his last holes coming home,
Hmm.
giving Johannes the victory. I was like, dude, we just talked about this man and his kind of unorthodox route. For those that don't watch us regularly, you said mentioned that you have a connection to that young man. Can you
Yeah.
go over
Hmm.
that?
Yeah. His brother comes out to Wildcat well, used to for the but so he's been out and I've met him personally. Real, real sturdy guy. Definitely like built tough.
Yeah.
Bro got some muscles on him and just pretty much.
Towering over Gary Player. Made
Oh
Gary Player look
yeah,
like a child.
him and his brother are both about my height, maybe a little bit taller, but yeah, we're pretty much eye to eye. But yeah, no, he's definitely tall and he moves it around really easily. But I mean, they play here pretty much every year, and
Hmm.
it's tough. I mean, these are about the scores you see. I mean, you'll see like
Yeah.
a 7 or an 8 under at the total, but it is a tough course, and it's a 72. It's a
Yeah.
par 72, but greens are tucked. There's a lot of different little bacon strip pieces where they have the flags tilted.
Yeah.
A lot of long par fours. Like number 18. Number 18 is pretty much a layup hole. You can use driver, but you're gonna bail, and you're still gonna have about 200, 215 still in when you're coming into the
Yeah.
green, and it's like you're gonna want to have a 7 or something into the green so you can hold the green. And a lot of people were not holding the green. So like if you hit a shot, you were within like 15 feet. That was a hell of a shot. Like there was a
Yeah.
lot
Not a
of
lot of
chasing through, a lot of release outs. Yeah, man.
yeah, not a lot of green and regs on 18 this week. Um,
Mm-mm.
yeah, it was a lot of carnage coming down the stretch as I was watching this morning, for sure. And then I think people maybe like you said, a lot of run throughs from the green, and I don't know if people were intentionally putting it up against that grandstand to be able to get a drop,
To
but
get that drop, yeah.
yeah, tough
Better
hole
long
for
than
sure.
short. Yeah, I mean, bro, 70, 71, 73, 69 wins a tournament. That's tough. That's a tough course. You go
It
under
is.
par 3 out of 4. You go over par by 1 on the third round to stay in it and stuff like that. I mean, Max Homo, I'm actually kind of sad. I really thought that after that first round, I thought he was gonna do a little bit better, but it is what it is. Theirs was
He hung
yeah, he
around.
hung
He just
around.
kept fading back though.
It was a limited field event. They had 67, 64, 65,
Okay.
66 players, 66 players. But a lot of players, let's see, tied 55 and on, double digits over par. Let's see. There's a lot of players that did not touch one of new PGA Tour bound Soderberg did not have an under par round at all. None.
Wow.
Let's see. Let's see. I mean, our Angel Hidalgo, are one of our favorite players, new favorite players. +4, 4 over. He had 2 even par rounds, a 1 over round, and then on round 4, 75. That's like, I mean, it's tough shit out there. Paul
It really
Warrington,
was.
the Paul Warrington, Silver Fox, 72, 70, 75, 74 to shoot 3 over. Van Rooyen right in front of him, 75, 73, 71, 72. They both shot 3 over. Like that's the
Go go
stuff. Like
go to the bottom. So Sammy Villamaki, who's a PGA Tour winner, plus
right.
18, plus 18,
Two
70.
79s.
It's crazy. 73, 75. Marcel
Yeah.
Seam throwback right there.
81.
So plus 18. God, dog, 81.
Yeah.
Here's an
Mm-mm.
82 right up above that from Grant Forrest. That's some tough sledding, man.
Yeah. Mm-mm. Tom McKibben, 277s mixed in there. Yeah, man. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
But like I said, kid very humble. Talking about the family sacrifices and I think we spoke about him traveling the world learning himself as an adult. Just the experiences of just traveling all throughout Europe and the
Hmm.
long travel days. So good to see it, right? If
Definitely.
not that we know him personally, not intimately, right? You're familiar with him, but
Right.
you could see that kind of coming through the screen as well when he was interviewed, and he just said he's had a tough go at it, had some opportunities, didn't really, wasn't really optimistic that he could win, but just put a good round on the board, and ultimately the field kind of dropped back to him.
Yeah.
He was down by 5 to start the day. I went 3 under, and like I said, field came back a little bit. So good on him. It was actually a pretty decent purse. I think it was like 1.25 million, something like that. So
Yeah.
um, definitely a nice purse for your first victory. Kind of pays it all
Second.
off. And second, that's
Yeah,
right.
he won the check in COVID times because
Oh,
my our one of our pros, Connor. Shout out to Connor, by the way. Just got done with Q school for the Corn Ferry Tour. He missed it by a couple of strokes. Just had one bad round, but we're not going to go down that tangent. But he was on the bag for that. He was on the bag for his Czech Open win. So we were watching it
okay.
on TV as it happened. So that's the only reason
Oh,
why I
sweet.
remember that one. Yeah, it was a cool
Sweet.
deal.
So yeah, just wanted to give that young man a shout out. Quick mention on the live side. So in the Saudi PIF, um, Joaquin Neiman won that tournament. Um, History of a lot of live guys playing in that. They pretty much had their entire lineup in that tournament this week.
Yeah.
Um, just Dustin Johnson's won it twice. A couple years ago, HV3 won it. Last year was a guy from Mexico. I can't even remember his name at this point. They're so
Carlos Ortiz.
no, no, no. The short
Oh,
guy.
answer.
Yeah, Abraham Answer.
Mm.
So he won it last year, and then Joaquin Neiman got it this year. So we'll see. Um, let's get in. Let's go ahead and get into the mini live topics that we have,
Yeah.
as
Let's get
we're running
into
up.
it.
So right off the top, go ahead.
I still think it's hilarious. I mean, if those guys over there were really about something, they would have made the President's Cup team. If they were doing anything like off a pick or whatever, I don't know what's going on. I mean, they saying they legal, they saying they eligible for the stuff, so
I
they
don't
would
know if
have
they were eligible
for
President's Cup
President's
time.
Cup. Oh, just
I don't
Ryder
think they
Cup.
were.
Okay,
Yeah,
my fault.
yeah.
My fault. My bad,
Um,
Abraham. You wasn't gonna make it no way. My bad. I retract that. My fault.
biggest news from Live this week. Greg Norman will be exiting as the Live CEO. An article that I sent you, a lot of hopium coming from him saying he's always going to be attached to Live or and associated with it in some way.
But do they want
Um,
him associated with him?
it sounded forced. It sounded kind of forced.
Yeah.
Um, so they've identified a new CEO, which They didn't have the name in the article. Oh yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Sorry, they do have the name listed. Nobody that we're gonna know, but from the corporate world, has dealt
Yeah,
with
you
sports again.
you keep talking, I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, it's not gonna really register, but um, yeah. So that dude is gone. The timing will be interesting on when that's fully integrated. It's not like Greg has really done CEO type of things. I think the ship has largely driven itself for the most part, right? A lot of money.
Yeah.
Um, the big guy, Yasser, that's really the head of it all. Greg's really just been a figurehead from just he's a golf guy, the face of it all that people know and can relate to. But at the end of the day, we've been seeing and hearing about this coming for the last 2 years, and it's finally been kind of brought to fruition. So him making an unceremonious exit from Live couldn't be happier. Couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So,
You're
um,
right. Okay. brief intermission. So Norman told Chernoff in a story published Friday to the station's website. So I will always be. Is there going to be a new CEO? Yes, there will be a new CEO. I'm fine with that. Will I always have a place and be involved with Live to some capacity? Yes, I'll always have that because the impact that has been created in the game of golf by Live, I've had a small piece of that, which I'm proud of. End quote. Listen, Greg, I think you are stepping your foot into the sand where these people are like, brother, we drug you along just for namesake only, bro.
Really,
So
truly.
when that's what I'm saying. So like when you say you had like if I'm a golfer and I'm big time. Now we're not gonna even say I'm John Rahm. Let's say we're Tyrrell Hatton. I'm not going to Live because of Greg Norman. I'm going to Live because John Rahm, who is the homie, is like, yo, look, hey, I'll talk with the bros. They gonna hook it up for you too.
I'm
It's
gonna
gonna
get you a
say,
hundred.
you know what I'm saying? It's gonna say 50 on the contract, but just know it's gonna be more than that, bro. Like just come with me, bro. I got you. You know what I'm saying? DJ, he not
I
coming
want to
because of
say
Greg Norman.
right. I
He
want to
not,
say
you know
Terrell's
what I'm saying?
contract was 100 M's. I want to say he got 100. Maybe it was 65. There's a couple numbers that keep popping in
Let's
my
see.
head. But I think
Horace
honestly,
Blitzer. Scott O'Neill is the
Terrell
new
had 65
okay. That's not bad for what 3 year obligation or something
for
like
four
that.
years. Yeah.
Exactly. It ain't nothing crazy. He low 30s, mid. I mean, he looked 40 because of his hairline. We're not gonna get into that, but like, yeah, bro, he'll still have a avenue back. And again, I think that's kind of
we know
why.
and he plays a shit ton of golf. So he's kept his game
Yeah,
tip top. He has never
yeah.
slowed down
Oh, he
versus
wants to be
somebody
in that
like
next Ryder Cup.
DJ who doesn't pick up a
Chilling,
club for months at a time.
HV3, chilling. They don't care. They don't care.
No. And they said it's
Um,
about the money, right? But go ahead. You had the
yeah, they
name?
did. Yeah, Scott O'Neill is the new will be the new CEO, former Harris Blitzer Sports and Entertainment CEO. So, London-based theme park company Merlin Entertainment is what he's over right now. Was not
I think
changed.
that's appropriate. Bring in the circus. Bro, I'm going to keep saying this until it's changing, until we know that a merge is happening. I want to remind everybody that Live does not have a TV deal going into 2025. Where is this thing going to be broadcast outside of YouTube streaming? That's not a platform that is growing. I'll kind of segue into the sad story of Bubba Watson because it kind of brings up some bigger points. So right now, as of this season, Bubba didn't play well to qualify to make his own team that he owns on Live, the Range Goats. So he doesn't even have a spot on his own team. Technically, he could force himself back onto the team. And given their kind of ability to recruit players right now, which he spoke to, he said, oh, there's a handful of guys that are interested, right? Which we talked about these nameless rumors that have been coming out and the bad journalism that comes from that, where we're just kind of speculating that big name PGA players are interested, but it's very telling because Bubba Watson doesn't quite have a filter, and he mentions that the guys that are interested want a lot of money because guess what? Everybody else that's came has gotten a lot of money, but it also
Right.
kind of indicates that big money is no longer on the table for these players, and I'm very interested also that turn yours down. Thank you, sir.
Sorry.
Um, and it seems like that also that he may have to have some stake in the game, where he may have to put up some money. It's very interesting. I'm very curious at this point where they're at in their development, how much responsibilities the teams are responsible for providing versus how much the Saudi PIF is responsible for providing. But
Yeah,
they're clearly not throwing hundreds of millions of dollars at these players anymore, which does indicate that maybe a deal is imminent,
yeah,
but also that they could be just winding this thing down. Mind you, a lot of these contracts were for 4 years.
yeah. I was about to say,
We're at year four.
yeah. That also you've mentioned it time and you not time and time again, but you've mentioned it before. Not saying that these boys is running out of money, that's cap, but are they running out of patience for a successful product being put forth?
Right.
Maybe. But again, if you're going new CEO, what did we say? This tour is only going to move forward if Greg Norman gets up out of there. If they force him out, if they end their relationship with Greg Norman. Greg Norman was just way too cocky and confident about his ability to get things done. And clearly, in these 3 years that he has been there, nothing has been accomplished via him, on paper at least. Nothing we can strive and be like, yo, Greg Norman did that. Greg Norman got us into Indianapolis. Greg Norman got us into Marido. Greg Norman got us into London to play twice. We can't say that. We can't say that at all. There is nothing on paper where we can be like, Greg Norman is the base or the origin of why this is happening on Live as it is. Until proven otherwise by the Live trolls and by somebody credible with the interview or an article, Greg Norman ain't been nothing but a name, and the name doesn't even hold weight anymore.
No.
So,
Hey, let me. I really think that they are really prioritizing. I mean, because again, think about it. The Saudi PIF is a public investment fund.
right.
When you think about investments, you want to get your return on that investment. And I'm on their website just because I want to make sure, like, I want to speak from some level of specificity. And they're featuring the things that they are investing in. And
Mm-hmm.
you tell me if golf or really sport fits into their primary categories of investment. Because to me, what this shows is a waning interest in what they can get from golf. But I'm going to go through their areas of investment, and it's a lot. And you tell me if sport fits into any of these: aerospace and defense, automotive, construction and building, components and services, consumer goods and retail, entertainment, leisure, kind in sports. They do have it on there. Don't get me wrong, but financial services,
Wait, go back.
food and
Wait, that
agriculture.
was entertainment was what? Fifth? Even if you want to
It's
lump it in with
fifth.
that, fifth on the list. Go ahead.
It's fifth. It is fifth.
Financial services. And what's
Financial
six? Go ahead.
services, food and agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
healthcare,
Yep.
metals and mining, real estate, telecom, media and technology, transport and logistics, utilities and renewables. These are all legitimate places to invest. Aerospace and defense, which is
Yeah.
interesting that they have it at the end. Or maybe, yeah, that's rolling back around. That's where we started. So here's the deal, those are all legitimate places. I mean, we've seen with sport, the return on sports ventures, unless you have a massive TV deal, where's the money coming from? When you look at the biggest sports right now, um, Premier League soccer, huge TV deal.
Yep.
You know, packing stadiums is not where you get the money. It's
Yeah.
part of it, but
NBC,
that's
USA. I mean, FS1. I mean, they're on multiple channels, prime time, overnight, early morning. It ain't no pay per view. This is forefront. right now, and
Right.
it's blocking off your little Law and Order Special Victims Unit marathon. They're gonna play this Premier League football over that.
Right. So we see it like a damn near every Sunday when you wake up. You know, the
Hmm.
time difference kind of messes with it. Um, NFL, we know the behemoth that the NFL is.
Yeah,
The revenue sharing with the NFL TV deal enables like these smaller market teams to still kill it because of the TV deal. Again,
yeah,
stadiums account for some of it, but that's not the bulk of where people are where their NFL is bringing in their revenue.
yeah,
Same thing with the NBA, even though the NBA overall is losing some popularity, it's the TV deal is still massive, right?
yeah.
So I'm again trying to figure out are they finally doing the math on this investment and how it doesn't really serve the needs of the Saudi PIF? It's just what that's what it feels like. Again, you don't. It's hard to say you going a whole year without signing anybody of note, and really any names that have come. I haven't seen any like major names even be rumored anymore, right? So
Yeah,
the Tony Finau thing we mentioned earlier, he threw water on that immediately. He was not
yeah.
playing around, but we haven't seen anybody else rumored
Remember,
as
he
going
is
over.
America first, Rod. He is America first.
You're stupid for that, sir.
Oh, shit.
You a
Oh
fool.
Lord.
You are a fool. I
Oh
know
my
your petty level is showing, but
God.
yeah, that's legit. So, bro,
Oh,
I don't
so
know.
no, no. Okay. So entertainment five. Okay, so you said financial services six. Where did you say telecom and communications? What was that, like ninth or tenth on the list of like
Yeah,
11 or 12? Okay,
yeah,
so if that's ninth or tenth, they not even trying to be on TV. Tell me something. Tell me something. They're not trying to be on social media. They're not trying to be on YouTube, really. I'm telling you, bro, these players individually better be on YouTube going live and have a TV crew with them, or they homie with the HD Sony handheld. I don't know what to tell you, bro. These folks, they not about to waste money if they not getting handed a TV deal. And if yo
yeah. It's got
on
to
your
make
list of
money.
priorities is 11 out of 12 or 10th out of 12, that's past 80% of your goals, brother. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it, right? That's all I'm saying, bro. That is all
Yeah,
I'm saying.
we'll see. We could have pie on our face, but I feel like they're begging just as much as we saw the desperation from the PGA Tour
Yeah,
last year. I feel like the PGA Tour has done a decent, not stellar, decent job of shoring up their commitment, right? And getting
they're
that
trying.
investment, getting that additional investment. You know, they were able to secure a Billy. Good for them. And we've seen like very little of Jay Monahan. Somebody told Jay Monahan, "Hey, bro, take the back seat,
Yeah, stay
shut
out
the
the
f
way.
up." They literally somebody tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Jay, pull back, bro. You about to mess this up for all of us."
Yeah,
And
you're
I
not
think they've
important, bro.
adjusted course. They've adjusted course. We're gonna see what's gonna happen with the Golf Channel stuff. That'll be interesting,
Yeah,
because we know they're a major vessel for the PGA Tour. With them being separated out from the NBC, um, portfolio of channels, that one will be interesting. There's
yeah,
a lot of things that are pending right now that we don't know where they're going to drive this boat, but
yeah,
a lot of
true.
things are going to be found out in the next couple of months. They have to be as we move into the new golf season. Um, we'll be at the century before we know it, and then full season will be ahead of us. January will be a go. Bless you.
Excuse me,
So,
I'm sorry.
damn it. um, Also, kind of associated with Live, they're having their Q school.
Yeah,
Tell
I was
me,
just getting ready to say,
uh,
let's get into this sorry ass list, please.
this list is so sad.
This is
I'm sorry I can't
so
get it. I'm
you
sorry I
can't
can't
post
get
it.
it up on screen.
You want
But
me to run through the
let's go
names, or
through
you
it.
gonna?
I'm gonna go through the names. Tell me when you've heard somebody. I mean, there's names on there that we know. There's names we know, but
Yeah,
there's literally it's a joke. Okay, so Spencer Levin,
yeah. First three.
homeboy, chain smoking, has been trying to get back on the Corn Ferry and Q School over here, and has not been able to make it. So what do? We're struggling. We go try to get Liv. John Caitlin, are you familiar?
Catlin, yeah.
Caitlin,
He's
okay,
played
yeah, it sounded familiar.
long time Asian tour player.
Okay,
Long time Asian tour player.
Hudson Swafford, we know, but the fact that he has
How?
not been able to,
Yeah, let's talk about it because you did nothing on the PGA. Then you took the money. They gave you 25 M's or so. I don't even think you got one of the mainline deals, but you went over there, still did not win, was not on a winning team, didn't even get in the team championship, and now you are literally relinquished to be in the Q school for live of all things. I think it's time to wrap it up, brother.
there's two things that are then when I think of Hudson Swafford, there's
He's a
two things.
lookalike for somebody else because he's not even
For
that important.
he's a
Harris English
lookalike
or something,
for
right?
Harris.
Yep.
Yes.
hmm
Him accidentally knocking a divot onto his ball in the fairway while taking a practice swing comes up on
Goofy.
the goofy, and him once upon a time being a Bridgestone sponsored athlete.
Exactly.
Those are the things that. So let me see. I can actually pull it up here. I got the page pulled up so people can follow along with this. So the
Shout out to
Snyder
Monday
Jan
Q Info,
brothers.
by the way.
Yeah, he's a really good page. He's a good follow. If you're still on X, he's a good follow. But he's also over on Instagram as well. Really good follow. Snyder Jan's brothers. I only knew of Ollie. I didn't know there was another one that was notable.
Ugh, come on, Ali. I thought you was America first, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, brother. I thought you was.
Um,
Apparently not.
Martin Trainer. That one's sad.
You remember who his ex is?
Who?
Jarena Pillar, LPGA player.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
sir. No, that's not. You're mistaken. That's not him.
You sure?
So yes, because that's Martin Pillar. Jarena is got a Hispanic last name. That's not him. Martin Trainer, if I'm not mistaken, he's a guy who wears a lot of tape on his wrist when he plays. That's
American French professional golfer. Let's see. The hell? It says he played in the RSM. What are you doing?
that's crazy.
Hold
Um,
on. I'm looking up his Wikipedia now.
okay, I'm gonna keep moving. Logan McAllister, I'm not
No
familiar.
idea. No idea.
Bo Hogue, I've heard the name, not familiar with the game.
No idea.
Chris Wood, that's a blast from the past. Chris Wood, super tall DP
No
World
shot,
Tour.
bro.
Chris Wood, Tom Lewis, that's some nondescript.
Tom
Ryan
Lewis is
Blum,
an English guy. I remember Tom Lewis more than I remember Chris Wood. Well, Chris Wood was a Mizuno player for a while.
yeah.
He played Mizuno sticks. Tom Lewis was only famous, not even famous, but like only known because he was a British player and he was in well with like Tommy Fleetwood, Rory, Justin Rose, all them. He was in that group, but he was a DP
Hmm.
World Tour player for a while. For a
Interesting.
while. Yeah.
Um, who else we got?
Ew.
Ryan
Martin Trainer
Blum.
is nasty work, bro.
You were really obsessed with Martin Trainer. Okay, keep it moving. We're getting bogged down. We got a lot of lists to go through. Barclay Brown, never heard of him.
No clue.
Santiago de la Fuente.
U of H player.
Oh, really? No shit.
Yeah, they're
Max Kennedy. Go
no
ahead.
clue.
Go about.
No clue. De La Fuente is a top amateur. He competed
Okay.
in all of all of the all of those amateur and Asia Pacific championships and stuff that they showed on ESPN, ESPN the Ocho, ESPN Deportes and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. He was on that. He played on that, and then
Okay.
he's like a long hitter. He's like 6'3", big stomach. I mean, just think Angel Cabrera, but like 19, essentially.
Okay. It looks like, just to jump back really quick, it looks like Chris Wood has really been struggling. Seems like he's been on the Challenge Tour, trying to get his way back up to the DP World Tour.
I thought he was a hot
Um,
hit too. He probably got a lot of mental stuff he dealing with too.
with the leak of talent from the DP World Tour going over the PGA Tour, the fact that he's not been able to compete says a lot about where his game is right now.
Yeah.
Max Kennedy, no idea.
Yeah, no
This
clue.
one's a trip. Jazzy J.
No clue.
This is a clown show, bro. Jazzy
Yeah,
J.
no
Logan
clue.
McAllister, Chase Hanna, MJ McGuire, the Vincent brothers, who have been a part of Live in some shape, form, or fashion since the beginning, but have struggled to hang on. And the last sad one, which we used to love this man, Brendan Grace, man. I hate where Brendan Grace and his game have arrived at this point. Um, but it is what it is, right? I mean, the
Yeah,
man was cut, didn't perform well enough to stay on the Live tour. Again, which says a lot considering that it's limited fields. That he wasn't able to hang on to his spot and is now fighting to get back on to Live. We used to love watching him on the DP World Tour. Weak grip, but that man could hit a draw like nobody's business.
oh yeah, yeah, man. To me, he kind of like he really on the verge of flip from above the rim to me. He probably talking to Louis and uh Charles talking about they never can take what we were, man. They never can take.
Okay, what's the equivalent of what's the
Oh my
equivalent
god.
of the what's the golf equivalent of flip jumping off the roof after hitting the backboard?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, y'all. Yo,
oh,
we are like
oh,
we are neck deep in a above the rim rabbit hole right now. So if you've ever seen the movie Above the Rim, go check. If you've never seen it, go
oh my
check it out. That's
god.
what we're talking about. We're on some real inside baseball stuff
Oh
right
my
now.
god, bro.
Sorry, yo. Sorry, yo.
I'm trying to think, man. Oh man. I'm
Anyway,
dead, bro. I'll think about something, bro.
all right. So that's it for our stuff today. That's our scheduled stuff. What else you got that's random you want to talk about before we hop off?
Well, you see, I got my logo on today. Mavs just came out of nowhere and actually chose to play basketball again. So very excited about that, about the NBA Cup. My apologies, the Emirates NBA Cup. Let's make sure we get these titles in there so we don't get punched.
Get
So
their
I'm excited
get their
about that.
sponsors.
Yeah, and honestly, we really could have been sitting pretty had we not sold that game to Golden State in the first one. Well, I'm not saying we would have went 4-0, but like, because I feel like the Mavs lose games that we should win a lot of times. But in that game in particular, I felt like we let Steph get hot late, and that's the only reason why we lost that. We still had plenty of opportunities to win that game, but now we got to go to OKC and show them what's up. But they don't have Chet right now. They just got back the other big man from New York that they signed. The white guy that's actually a black guy, but really is a white guy. You know what I'm talking about? No, they've talked about
You
it.
are on one today. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
no. Swear to God, I'm not joking this time. For real, it's funny, but he is technically a black German guy. I'm not
Okay.
even trolling. But
I
anyway, so they
mean,
got him back.
Black is okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So he kind of, he kind of handles the ball, kind of, distributes from like that top elbow little region. So he might throw a little wrench in it, but really it's all about the push off king. If we could just have my man's SGA just put him, we need to face guard him. Put PJ Washington on him, just face guard him. Exclude if J Dub go off, if Jalen Williams go off, cool. If Isaiah Joe go off, we can't have SGA putting up 36, 6 and 4, and then them putting in 20 balls too. Like we can't have that. SGA just gonna have to get he's gonna have to get iced out. And then I think we have a good
So
chance of
this is
winning that.
coming up Tuesday.
Isaiah Hartenstein.
Um.
Hartenstein.
Okay. Yeah, I know the
Yeah.
name. I know the name.
Yeah.
Wasn't he with Boston before, or was that
New
he was
York.
with New York?
Yeah. He
Okay.
was in New York and they
Um.
actually dropped like 85 M's on him to get him to come to OKC. No troll.
It was a quick turnaround for the Mavs. They went from hovering one game above 500 to second in the West right now. I mean, they were 10th 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah.
really a good turnaround for them. And I don't know if that's just Luca being grateful and seeing what he was missing out while he was sitting out and coming back invigorated. Hopefully they can keep that energy. Not being. I feel like I'm name dropping or status dropping. But while we were in the Bahamas, we were at the what's that bar? Margaritaville, and there was a guy that had like on a Celtics jersey and hat, and I almost wanted to not talk shit, but just say y'all ain't gonna get us again if we meet in the finals. But
Right.
I had already had a couple of drinks, and he had too. I didn't think the conversation would go very well. Kyrie carrying them during Luca's injury was the trick. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, shoot,
Kyrie
when
is
Luke
that guy.
yeah, you can always count on Kyrie to get us a bucket. I mean, he did it late game against Toronto with Luca in the game. And I think also I think wait, relax, bro. Relax. The Bulls is cheeks, so I don't even know who you going with, Anton. I don't even know who you going with right now. Because the Bulls is cheeks. Who you going with? Who's your team? Announce your teams first so we can flame retrospectively. Anyways, like I was saying, I think a lot of people really got tied up with us winning without Luca. No, no. We
Yeah, you
can go
can't.
there.
That's like somebody from Detroit talking cash. Come on, Bulls fan.
Yeah, please. Anyways, you they thought we was good without our best player. Our best player came back and the plus minuses got better. So
Yeah,
I think it was like a false sense of confidence and then our best player came back. And that's why we're 10 out of the last 11, six in
and
a row type deal.
I'm telling you, my boy, that God, my brain is like I need some coffee. Who that we were arguing is I'd say he's a shooting guard. You were like he's a forward.
Oh, PJ
PJ
Washington.
Washington.
He's
PJ
a
Washington.
forward.
No, dude's a freaking two. Um,
He's a
he's a hybrid.
forward.
Whatever.
He is a
He
six
plays too
seven
much on the wing.
forward.
He plays too much on the wing. Anyway, he
Because
played
he's
very well during this
versatile.
stretch as well. You ain't
Oh
never
yeah,
gonna
he stepped
convince
up.
me.
He stepped up. Hey, look, I'm a big fan of PJ Washington. Now, if we could somehow move Maxi Kleba, you think we could get Dodo back?
I don't think that's the play. I think you need somebody that's really an athletic four.
Yeah,
Um,
we need. Hey, we move Jaden Hardy and we move Maxi Kleba package deal for like an actual like 3 and D defender.
bro, we hadn't even had Dante Exum playing. Like,
Right,
there's pieces just
big
sitting.
guard. Come on, bro. His wrist
Yeah,
still messed
there's
up.
pieces. there's pieces still available. Gafford has been hurt.
Right. D Live ain't been in the lineup. He missed a couple of games in a row too. He missed like 3, 4 when
Yeah,
we
man.
like, hey, look, it just proves the Twin Towers is a real thing.
Yeah, yeah. F this new NBA
No,
stuff, Antoine.
no, bro, that's a good thing. I want both of them. I like that we got Najee and PJ. We need
Yeah,
versatility. Remember, you missed a few years where we was Yogi
it,
Ferrell. We had way too many small guards. I'll take all the length. Pause. I'll
yeah.
take all the wings, slashing, and ball handling guys we can get. Let me just put it
I
that way.
know, but we need some D. Hopefully, like I said, we can get healthy for the end of the year because we need the
Yeah,
length, right? That's where
truly.
some rim protection. That's where Boston kind of really got at us. But anyway, my guy,
Yeah, and
we've
they
gone
and they
an hour
cooked us
and
on threes. We were
true,
not nearly as
true.
efficient,
You
not
said
nearly as efficient.
fairly and JJ Barea. Yeah, those days of people my height playing on the Mavs are long gone. Thank God.
Thank
Um,
God.
all right, bro. Good return. I'm glad we got back. We'll be posting a lot of clips from today and also the second half of my course vlog from the Bahamas, windy Bahamas. It was fun getting that one edited up. I hadn't done a course vlog in quite some time. So we'll see y'all next week. Bearder Bros Golf Show. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you, Antoine.